Well, I think that I was just telling the young fellas, for them, it's a one-time deal. For me, I've been doing it 38 years, and so I think you become a little bit, I don't want to say immune, but it becomes a little bit more routine. I've been very fortunate in my career, and I've been in a lot of facilities. The best thing about today is that our league set it up so this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for these 40 kids. And for that, I'm really grateful and thankful that the experiences you can get in college football are things people don't normally get. And this is one of those kind of things for these kids. I don't think there's absolutes in life. I think most things are kind of in a gray area. So there are some things that I'm disappointed in. We'll be on our third athletic director in 3 years. I think that's very hard to build culture around because each one wants things done differently. The first two were very, very different with what they wanted, what their expectations were. And so every time you have to change, it's like turning the Titanic. You can't go in and change how you do things like this. It's a developmental process. And so I think that's slowing down our progress more than I would probably want. But I think anything in the world slows down more than I probably want. I think we're getting better. I don't know that we'll be as good as we were in some ways because we have to replace a lot of kids that played for us for 2 years. But we have really good young kids in the program, kids being relative, really good young student athletes in the program. And we did a nice job recruiting this year with Denny Dornbos and Matt Clark and Joe Fine, three assistant coaches. We only had 3 assistant coaches this year. And so they all did a really good job of recruiting and getting kids in, and we have better students in a lot of ways, and we don't take citizenship problems. And so now we're up to 100 kids. We started with 26 kids 2 years ago. And so we've grown the program. The GPA is better. The number of problems is lower. And so now you can spend more time coaching, which is why we're in this. I don't know if we'll win more games. We're not the league is really made of 3 things: haves, have-nots, and the forgotten one of us. And so the haves are really good college football teams and play in national games and in national playoffs. And the have-nots are trying to get to that spot, but have a ways to go in all their circumstance. When you talk to them, they all have a hurdle they have to overcome to get to that next group. And we're really the last one, the forgotten one at the bottom. And so it is process-driven and not result-driven. And I know our process is right, and so I'm excited to continue that. See,
yeah, exactly.
Right? What are you going to leave behind when you're old like me? You think when I die. When you're young like them, it's when I finish what I'm doing right now. I know that when I was the head coach at Bryant University, I left a legacy of a lot of good things behind. Some championships and some facilities and some really good people in place. I worked for wonderful people there. And when I was at Sonoma State, I know we went from never having a Division II win to playing for the league title at one point. So I know what I've left behind, and you have to teach the young people in our world that matters. It's not just what are you doing today, but how are people going to look at what you did as time travels. And so we're trying to leave a legacy for whatever comes next to look at and say, boy, we want to emulate that. We want to grow like that. We want to continue that. And that's what we're trying to do for Highlands. Well, he brings both things. And, he stuck with us this summer, which we only had 8 kids around this summer. These other schools have 60 kids in the summer in their programs. We don't have that. We don't have the infrastructure to support it. We don't have jobs to support it. We don't have scholarships in the summers. And so for him to make that kind of commitment was really a neat deal. He's arguably our best athlete and you could tell he's a big person, but he's really an athletic person, really likes football. And I think that his future is very bright. I really do. He has a lot to prove. Last year was his first year of college football outside of the junior college world. And that's a learning curve. And so I expect his performance to really take a step forward this year. But leadership comes in lots of ways. One is by example. One is, that voice in your locker room. What do the young people hear when things go well? What do they hear when it doesn't go well? Because not every day goes well. When a young fella has a bad day or is late for something, and, what are the older guys going to say to him? Are they going to, take the side of, ignore the old people? Or are they going to take the side of, hey, they're doing this for your own good? And he is truly one that we believe and has shown to really help the young people around him with, they're doing it for your good. You have to pay attention. You have to do things that are right. You have to subjugate your ego for the good of the group. The team has to come before all of us. The way you get individual accolades is go have a really good team. And we want them to enjoy individual accolades, but we really want to start it by creating a good team. and he gets that before me. And he was one of the ones that stuck with us. He's one of the ones that had a lot of opportunity to leave, and too many people do that in this day and age. I disagree with all the folks that say we should make it easier for people to transfer. I think that's one of the negatives in our world, is it's too easy to do. I think we should make it more encouraging to stick with something that's hard. And I think he's done that, and that is to his credit as a human being, as a man that was well raised with two parents who really care about his future. He's a terrific student, he's a good player, and he's a really good person. So to have him as a senior as our left tackle really is a positive for us. And we're not back until August 10th.
Okay, so you still got
and so we only have 8 kids in town, so we don't have a team yet. And I'm not saying that to be facetious. Our expectations for those kids, I mean, I've talked to them, I like them, I see how they're doing on things at home, and I think we'll come back in good shape. I think we'll come back really excited about our future, but we're very young. We lose the quarterback, Danny Cameron, who graduated and was a terrific leader and player. We lose the tailback, who was an all-conference tailback. We lose all the receivers. They're all 2-year guys for us. But now the freshmen that we took in the last 2 years and 3 years that we've been training, now it's their turn. But they haven't played much. And so, an example is the tailback. Kamari Mosby was having a terrific first 2 or 3 games. A young fellow from Chicago, was a sophomore. We go down to Texas and play Kingsville, a very close game. We're playing great, and in the middle of the third quarter, he breaks his ankle, misses the rest of the year. How will Kamari come off that? How will he take being the lead bell cow back there? He just hasn't done it yet. And you may have a great high school career, but you have to translate that, because as we know, 2% of all the great high school players make good college players. So we have a lot of those questions. Now I feel very comfortable with a lot of those guys. The young receivers we have, I think, are really talented kids, and I think they've learned. I think they've listened. I think the best thing we've done is the 3 coaches that we were able to keep with our kids all year, Denny Dornbos and Matt Clark and Joe Fine. They did a terrific job of building relationships and nurturing this team, and we'll see if it